Yeah, you mentioned about execution, right? There's a planning, there's execution. It's always right easier said than done, especially in the global context. I actually one of the company I ran into is that they're not that big as a Microsoft. They're already, let's say, 100 people, but they have a very global reach, right? As you said, you got a content in the centralized produce, and you got to distribute in social media, right? The ads, and for that company, they do have a distributed team across countries, and they
Mhm.
have a multiple languages. One of the pinpoint uh, is that they often find all the contents are disconnected, right? Let's say, hey, if I could see an ad in somewhere or a post in somewhere quoting a number that's probably a couple months too old, right? Given their speed is at a different level. So how do you what method, right? What tool do you use to making sure, hey, as a centralized content strategy person, everyone follows?
Yeah, so from a tooling perspective there, it was mostly like internal Microsoft stuff as like SharePoint, kind of boring planner, nothing too crazy. I think what I'm thinking is that the challenge, th there are going to be challenges. Like I was lucky there in that we had a ton of resources. So that like always helps solve a lot of the problems. So yes, I can be the central hub if I have like an agency here, international site managers here. There's still like planning and logistical challenges, but now money and resources solves a lot of problems. Now, prior to that, when it was just me and one other person, I was managing the US, UK, and Canada functions. We had some freelancer help. It was version control was not that hard. It was all in English. I I think it's just always going to be somewhat of a challenge, and that's why I typically prefer like incremental growth, where you're not trying to be everywhere and everything to everyone before you can get your shit together across like three geos. And I know that that's hard because you want to go as far and as wide as you can as quickly as possible to see what sticks and what's hard. And I totally understand and appreciate that approach. But if that's the approach you're going to take of going wide, you are just going to have to deal with some of the gaps and figure it out as you go. I know that's not a great answer, but that's probably what I have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
makes
and I
sense.
think like the prioritization is also like very hard because you can always say, okay, we're gonna, continue to develop English content. There's always, room to grow more, or we can, go after Spanish speaking market. And hopefully, yeah. So it's like, yes, you can look at your existing user composition to say, oh yeah, it's actually, like direct traffic, 30% coming from Spanish speaking countries. Maybe we should do it. But like how are you actually doing that prioritization and what data do you
Yeah. For me, it should be just aligned with the overall business. If your digital marketing lead, your content marketing lead, or even your marketing lead is dictating where you're expanding to, there's probably some problems there, right? Like they can or should inform, right? And then say, hey, we're getting these pops from these geos, or we are getting these leads from these geos. Like maybe we need to go there, but it's for me the best content and SEO strategy is tightly aligned with the rest of the business. Like again, it's the desire in SEO in particular is to go as far as wide as possible. Like get to 100,000 views per month, convert 1%, continue to grow, and you just keep getting more and more. And that's great. That can work. But I think a much stronger approach, particularly now in the age of like AI abundance slop, is a tightly aligned content and SEO vision with the rest of the business. So an example, I was working with a company that sells used car online. And so, of course, they want to go after keywords that are like how to sell your car online, sell your car online quickly. And they should. And they probably, and they're going to. But, that's a brutal space, right? There's like Carvana, there's CarMax, there's BBB, there's companies who have great SEO teams who've been doing it for 20 plus years. And, my advice to them is, hey, here are some other more targeted keywords with what you guys are good at. It's more around getting more value out of it, or it's like some of the keywords were, can you sell your deceased parent's car? And it has a fraction of the actual keyword volume of sell your car online, but it's a much higher intent audience that has a much lower keyword difficulty score. So the chances of them actually ranking for that, starting to build value, get revenue from it, while also building out their larger SEO domain authority around selling cars, for me, that was a no-brainer to guide them towards that, where it's what is your business actually good at? Where can you deliver value? And then think about that from the content and the SEO perspective and prioritization and connecting it to the internationalization. Like, if the business decides for various, hopefully good reasons, that they're going into these markets, I think the keyword SEO data, digital marketing data should help inform that. I often don't think it should lead though, unless you have a really, really, really killer insight that no one else has seen.
Yeah. That's such a great point on competitive keywords where everyone is going after, but going like as a new or smaller player, go to the longer tail keywords and specific pain points and questions people are trying to solve.
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, building on that. When I talk about your SEO and content strategy should be aligned with your overall business, that means like what your business is good at. So when we were at Microsoft, like you have this incredible domain authority, like it's 99, like it is. So we can go after every single keyword by and large and have like an actual decent chance at ranking for it just because there's so much authority tied up to it around so many different verticals. Like that's not going to be the case for most other businesses. And so you shouldn't approach it like Microsoft does, but I think you can still do things that make sense for your business and can deliver value in a relatively short period of time.